two,
1.
one. Robotics
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 Assemble.
Assemble.
Yes, that
Really
was
hard.
perfect.
Kind
Meg will
of.
fix it
Not
in
really.
post. All right. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the next episode of Robotics Assemble, the Saints Robotics production. Today, I'm your host, Nikhil Devisetti, and I'm joined by Aditya Shrey, our president.
The co-host for this episode. And
Yes.
we're also joined with Meg in the background, who will be helping us record this. And we've also got some special guests. Nikhil, do you want to introduce them?
Yeah, so we have alumni today, but these alumni are going to tell us the secrets and the trade secrets of being a robotics member and a student in general. All right. So
Mhm.
why not introduce yourselves? We have Jeremy, Ananya, and Varun. So tell us your name, I guess. What university you go to, and if you had $10,000, what would you spend it on?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question. I guess I'll go first since my name was called first.
All right.
So, my name is Jeremy Lim. I'm a student at the University of Toronto doing engineering, and I guess if I had $10,000 to spend on, I'm in an economics course for getting an engineering business minor, and I'm learning that these stocks and bonds are pretty valuable. It's all about getting those assets. So
Mhm.
that's probably what it'll go into.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, so my name is Varun Raja. I go to the Loyola Marymount University in LA. I'm a communication studies and business management double major. And if I had 10,000, was it $10,000?
Yeah, $10,000.
Jeremy already took my answer, but I was going to say reinvest that into the stock market. But yeah, that's probably what I would do.
All right.
Mhm.
And I guess I can finish off. My name's ananya.mallik. I go to UNC Chapel Hill. And if I had $10,000, I know I'm going to say the same thing as them, but I'm a finance major, so hopefully that gives me like a break. And to make it a little more spicy, I would probably invest in like real estate investment trusts.
Nice.
What about you, Nikhil? What would you do with $10,000?
You see, I would go to this little website called saintsrobotics.com and then buy our merch.
There we go.
How about you, Shrey?
Awesome. I don't know. Actually, we asked this question during one of the icebreakers when we were hosting Seoul with our class, right? And I
Ah.
told my students that I would create a school for ISOL, and that's my answer. But we had $1 million for that, not 10,000.
$10,000.
Nikhil, you're not giving us enough.
It's
Yeah,
just,
I feel
I
like
don't know.
10,000 you can't make a school or anything like that.
You
Yeah.
can have an attempt at a school.
Yeah. I mean, you could make like an online course.
Yeah, just like an
Yeah.
online
That's
thing.
true.
That's about it.
Skillshare, yes.
I mean, all of the classes are online on the YouTube channel, so you can take a look at that. But they're just
Yeah.
summaries of it.
It's just scratch stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to know that, but it's there for you if you want to scratch.
If you want to learn how to scratch, it's a very advanced coding platform.
Yeah.
We have very
Advanced-
detailed analysis of all of it.
Advanced for me. There we go.
All right.
Yeah. What's next,
Yeah.
Nikhil?
So let's just get into the meat of the episode, all right? So what were you guys doing on the team? Like, anybody go.
All
I'll
right.
go.
I mean,
Oh,
I go over and all you.
All right, yeah.
yeah. So I feel like personally, like I joined robotics a lot later than a lot of people. I joined my junior year. And initially I started off with being on media. And that's what I kind of did for the first competition year. And then going into the next year, I took the role as the vice president. I'm still so grateful that I got that position, being such a new member, only being there for 1 year. And yeah, and then it was just like really just on admin, figuring out a lot of things, like trying to go to Worlds, figuring out all the logistics, speaking with other teams. And that was mainly kind of what I did for the most part.
I mean, I can go next.
Okay.
Jeremy over here speaking. So I started my first year in business development actually, or what we called PR.
PR.
Yeah, the good old PR days. And then I went from there into my sophomore year in an experimental role. It was like operations, and I was specifically in charge of the engineering side of it, basically managing Slack channels, making an engineering journal kind of thing. And then the following year, I was the marketing officer slash imagery officer. So hoodies, t-shirts, all that cool stuff. And then the last year, I was the senior director of communications, the fanciest title I to this date still have. So yeah, that was pretty fun. I was in charge of actually helping out with that merch kind of stuff, doing laser cut stuff for other teams and our pits and stuff like that. And that was a lot of fun. And then being able to go to Worlds and to show that off, that was awesome. So
And Ananya?
Yeah, I just want to start off saying nice pajamas, Nico. They're
Yeah.
really funny. But I started off in PR with Jeremy, and then my sophomore year became BD, which is business development. So I was in charge of that until my senior year. I was like really happy doing that. I loved it. I know I helped Shrey when he was a freshman, and now he's the president. Isn't that crazy? But yeah,
Wow.
we were just doing grants, sponsorships, outreach stuff, all that. It was a lot of fun getting to interact with other people, other teams, just doing all that.
And just for reference, when did you guys graduate?
I think all
Last
of us did. I think all of
What?
us did 2019,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, we were all
Class
Yeah.
of-
doing it.
yeah.
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 And actually, I have a comment about you, Varun. You said you joined in 11th grade, but actually, a lot of people do that. Like,
Hmm.
like Meg
Yeah.
over here he also joined in 11th grade. So it's not
Yeah.
too uncommon, but it's definitely a little late.
Yeah. I
Very
mean,
into it, I think.
Yeah.
I think the surprising part of it all was like how I was given like the vice president. Like I really went into it with like an open mind. I didn't really know what was gonna happen. I just decided to full send it essentially. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it was just kind of crazy because I'd only been there in the club for like 1 year. I mean, I came to Interlake High in junior year, so it was also my first year in the high school, and I just found it just really crazy that at the end of that, and in my senior year, I was able to like essentially help lead this team.
hmm Yeah. That's nice. And also for Ananya and Jeremy, do you know what business development is now called?
Yeah.
No, what's it
No.
called?
Ooh.
It's just called business.
Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
turns
Co-
out
Co-op. Yeah, co-op
turns
was.
out business has like a
Uh-huh.
lot of name changes from the years.
Yeah.
It went from what PR to
To business
But
business
development.
PR was
development.
created 2 years before us. So like when we entered PR, it's still relatively new too. Because
Oh.
Was there?
it was like Anthony, he
Wow.
was 2 years our senior, and Shannon, who was the president, they created PR their sophomore year. And they changed it from outreach, I think. So
Okay.
it's definitely gone through a transition.
Wow. Outreach to PR to what?
Business development to
Now
business.
business. What's gonna happen next year? Is it gonna be like
Going
I
back
don't
to
I
PR. I was waiting for you guys to give that
It's
answer.
always been a joke for that.
we should just
No.
change it back to PR. It's gonna be a cycle every year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be called.
Keep things interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always get new members that way. But yeah,
So yeah, so
awesome.
robotics was fun, I guess. It was a good. Do you guys all think it was a great experience?
It was
Yeah,
definitely
in
my
my
favorite memories of high school. Some of my favorite memories came from robotics.
That's awesome. All right. So
yeah.
like
Oh,
what?
I just wanted to say something about
Yeah.
that question.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, like it was probably like the highlight of everything because I was essentially like a freshman coming into junior year, and that's how it felt. And joining robotics was literally like the highlight, and it kind of changed everything from my perspective of like life in the United States to life in like Interlake High School. And for me, it was. I still look back at it and being like one of those critical parts of my life, and it kind of changed my entire outlook on like how I think and how I process stuff.
Robotics is also the reason I kind of went into business. So it definitely shaped my life like significantly.
Nice.
That's nice. And Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, same thing as what they've been saying. I'm obviously in engineering, and while my role in robotics wasn't necessarily super engineering focused, I found that I do enjoy a lot of engineering concepts and principles. And I actually do hope that in the future I can have a similar role in robotics, being, doing managerial stuff in terms of, okay, making sure, all right, are we connecting to the right business partners? Are we looking at the other factors, that kind of stuff? Because that goes a lot unnoticed in engineering. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did you say that you wanted to be like again part of a robotics team doing that stuff or like just in general?
oh, just like career, yeah, career
Yeah,
related.
career. I
In
see.
any field, there's always a need for that kind of a role. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. So it's like, yeah, I also think robotics has like got me more interested with like engineering and stuff because I used to think all I wanted to do was become a programmer. That's like the end goal, right? But now I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, so I could like do other parts of engineering, like mechanical or like electronics engineering. They all are interesting to me.
And you've always got imagery for you, Nikhil, or
Yeah.
just as a side job or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely impacted me too. I know I'm in business, but I'm not even sure what I want to do in the future. But it's all the experiences. And I know this is like junior year, but I feel like I've done so much just because of robotics. It's crazy. And really just hosting your own things, events like ISOL, and then helping out with the FLL qualifier and things like that. I guess that those are things you do in business, but those experiences just kind of change you and your outlook on things, your perspective.
Speaking of FL qualifier, Jeremy, do you remember we started that our freshman year? Or at least I remember doing that.
Oh yeah, we started with. I remember very clearly. It was
You, me,
Miss
Fergus.
Serlu. Yeah, well, Miss Serlu, our mentor, she's still there. Was like, yo, get a freaking concession stand going. Get these signs ready to be posted. Like, we want to try to get this thing done, and that was really fun.
Yeah, I remember it being one of like the most stressful times, especially the one during my senior year, because
Mm.
it was just me and Mohammed. I don't know if he's still there, but wait, he's graduated. But it was just us kind of working on that video for like the final presentation, and it got so stressful because I was writing my college apps at the same time as
Ah.
trying to, because that same night I had the UC application due, so I was just polishing it at the same time, trying to focus on making sure the photos were coming out right, getting all the teams in there, and then at the same time interacting with a lot of the kids walking by. And even though it was really stressful, at the same time, it was also just really rewarding in the end. And it like gave way to like a lot of great memories.
Mhm. Wait, Jeremy and Ananya, what were the some of your favorite events from the
From the
FLL
FL qualifier.
qualifier? Yeah.
I remember my freshman year having to sit down with Fergus, who was like an upperclassman on the team at that time. And Mr. Early was like, figure out concessions. We're going to sell stuff, figure out how to make a profit. And me,
Mhm.
like a freshman, I had no idea what I was doing. So then like we had to go through like Costco's inventory, like all these stores we thought of what kids would buy. And then what
Mhm.
should we price them at? Like you can't just sell Cheez-Its for like $3, you know? Like that'll
Mhm.
make a profit, but no one's going to buy it. So I think that was my first like experience with not market sizing but like price gauging and seeing how like the market responds and seeing like what people would buy. And then that took forever actually to calculate all the profits to make sure we weren't like spending more money, and we made around 2K for our first year, which wasn't bad. But yeah, it was fun honestly. But I just remember looking at those spreadsheets and being like, where like this is not what I expected when it came into robotics. I thought I would be like coding or something, but it was definitely a fun experience and I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I mean, for me, I did everything from, let's see, my first year out, I was in charge of helping resetting fields after each match. Then the second year, I helped uh, bus teams to the different locations. What, third and fourth year, I think, yeah. Well, third year, I couldn't go. I think fourth year, I was the MC for the event, which was really cool. And then I also was the DJ. That was also fun.
Mhm.
So definitely highlight was my senior year. But yeah, I mean, even to this day, I'm still writing those experiences on like job applications and resumes and stuff like that, being like, hey, I have a wide variety of skill sets. And so it does really help for when you're picking going for a job, you pick and choose. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
Nikhil?
speaking of like
Uh-huh.
FL, I don't remember big. I don't think I've participated in any
Oh
FLL thing yet.
no, Nikhil. Oh my
You
gosh.
see, I was going to this year, and then everything went down. All right, I was ready, and then COVID happened, and
Wait,
then
it
I was
was in
like,
December.
it was in December.
Yeah. No excuses, Nikhil. No
You didn't
excuses.
know that.
No excuses.
Don't call him out like that. Okay, this is public.
It's okay. No,
Well,
this is gonna help.
I was doing
Yeah.
chairmans during that time, right, guys?
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
No,
yeah.
sure,
Chairman's in
sure,
Yes,
December.
truly.
sure.
Chairman
Okay.
Obviously.
For sure.
You know, I mean, on the chairman's note, we've definitely started the award earlier this year. But my favorite
Oh,
experience
wow.
um was actually this last year. So my sophomore year last year. At the end of the event, I was the pit admin, but I was also helping out with concessions and just going around giving. I was a messenger, but so I went to concessions. We were packing up during the award ceremony. I was picking up the ice box, I believe that's what it's called, and I only pick up one side. Then water just goes out of it, and like it fills the entire room, and it extends out of the concessions room. Right? It just fills the floor, and the rest of the VD members are there. right? And then so I go to the janitor and he's like, "Hey, you need to clean this." Okay. And I'm like, "Okay." So he brings me to the closet, I take the supplies, and I spend 10 minutes and I make no progress, right? And then he comes back and he's like, he helps me out and he says, even like you don't need, wait, let me try and remember this, but he says something along the lines of, even the most simplest of tasks don't require a big brain, or just something like that, right? Like you need to approach a task that's even simple with some smartness involved, right? So I guess it kind of was a roast, but it definitely brought a new perspective. It's like, hey, I can't do this, even though it looks really easy, but it's still somewhat of a hard job.
Yeah, it's
That
like me
was
and cooking. Like it seems easy, and then I start cooking. I'm like, wow, I have
Oh,
respect for cooks now.
yeah.
I can attest that. I mean, ever since I moved into like my own place here, I've had to cook every single meal of the day, and it is not easy.
Mhm.
For me, it's kind of the opposite. I mean, I love cooking. I've been doing a lot over quarantine, but my like easy task that I could not do was being an MC during the qualifier. So like I remember my like freshman or sophomore year, someone was like, "Do you want to be MC?" Because I had a break from concessions. I was like, "Sure, that sounds like so much fun. Like everyone in the stands is gonna hear me talk, like they're gonna see me, etc." And I like take the mic and nobody really tells me what to do. They're just like, "Oh, call out the plays, like make sure you know what team's winning." And I realized like I didn't know how the actual game itself worked. And so I was just like going around the different tables, like, oh wow, they like knocked something down. Wow, okay, 1 point to this team. Like I had no idea what I was saying. It was so obvious. So like after 2 rounds, like someone took the mic from me. They were like, "Do you want to go back to concessions?" I was like, "Yes, please." And so I just
Oh
went back to
my.
like selling food, and I couldn't even say anything for the MC. It was definitely like, wow, I should actually know what I'm doing instead of just taking on a responsibility like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been in those situations where it's like, all right, yes, I can do it, and then they tell you what you actually have to do once you accept it, and you're like, I don't know how. I'm not so sure anymore. You see, someone's calling me. Uh, I'll be right back, and then you don't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So let's
so it's
move
like,
on. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing. Let's move on into
Okay.
COVID. So
Okay.
it's like, so basically, I don't know about you guys, but the last year has been like a blur for me, because it's like, for some reason, I still thought I was a sophomore in September. I was like, all right, I was gonna do some forms, and they asked me if I was a junior or sophomore, and I said sophomore, and I was like, oh crap, because it's like I felt like COVID has really affected robotics and like a lot of stuff. So like, how is it affecting you guys? It's like, do you see any difference in like day to day life or no?
I mean, I
Um,
see him. Oh, sorry, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I mean, yes, I mean, I saw it greatly. Even when it first started, I had to go home back. My family moved to Singapore, so I was there for like 5 months. And even after coming back, like being in LA, was a hotspot when I entered, and it's slowly dying out, but it's still not the best. And even stuff like, going out, trying to find an Uber to just go grocery shopping, or even trying to ask a friend. Everyone's really cautious. It's really hard to do like even the most simple errands here
Mhm.
and at the same time it's also affecting a lot of like, I mean, I personally don't like doing classes over Zoom. I'm way more attentive in person, so that too. And also finally with clubs, being in clubs and not being able to actually meet in person. Like I'm in Mall UN at LMU, and it's really really weird trying to do conferences through Zoom, but I guess in these times you just have to make do with what you have.
No, I
Mhm.
definitely second that. Mine hasn't been as much as like moving back to a different country and then coming back. But for me, like, I don't know if you guys saw, but UNC was all over the national news for like closing in a week. They were in like international news too. I don't know why China and like South Korea were reporting on us a lot for some reason. But it was an experience. I didn't go back. I canceled like 2 weeks before we were supposed to go back. So it was super hectic trying to like figure out my classes to go completely online. And I remember I like called like every single person in the stats department like a gazillion times for that 2 weeks. Like I probably called the department head until I like got my 8 a.m. stats class, and then everything went online. So I was like, might as well have just like relaxed and waited for my original class to go online. But yeah, in terms of like clubs, I think I've been able to do a lot more. Like I'm taking like 18 credits and doing like an internship, a job, like multiple clubs. It's been easier because I don't have to run around campus. but it's also like sucked because I sit in like one corner of my bed all day and I'm just on my computer. I can't focus, so my iPhone like screen time has gone up so much. I'm just on my phone during everything. But it's been like good and bad. Like I miss having people around, like seeing everyone, making new friends. But also like in terms of productivity or like recruiting, like it's recruiting season right now for like jobs. Like that's been significantly easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I third what Varun has been saying, and second what Ananya has been saying. I mean, it's basically like I had to come home from Toronto, so crossing the international border, that was definitely a big worry. And then coming back to Washington, it was fun. Definitely, I actually was able to catch up on work that I was falling behind on. But then you got to the point where everything was boring because you couldn't really do much, couldn't really go outside much. And then, yeah, I mean, over the summer, I gradually started meeting with more friends, and I had a job over the summer, so that was fun. And then came back to Toronto, and while they are being cautious here, it's definitely less cases here than in the US for sure. And so that's nice having that a little bit of comfort and knowing that, and then my school also announced really, really early, like in May, that we were going online. So none of this waiting around that I know the American schools really like to do. So that was awesome.
That's
I knew
true.
instantly, like in May, I had my plans for coming back already. So that was super chill.
So
But
it's
yeah,
like,
I mean,
wait, so the way online university works, you could just be like at home and then still attend your university classes, right?
it's
Mhm.
pretty similar from what you guys are doing in high school, from when I hear from my brother at least. I mean, we don't use we don't use Microsoft Teams, but I mean, I'm pretty sure every high school uses basically Canvas, right? And then Zoom. Do you
Yeah.
guys use Canvas at your universities? I know it's pretty popular at some
We use
universities.
Zoom. My entire university is on Zoom.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we use Zoom, and then I know our B school uses Canvas.
Okay,
So, yeah.
What's Canvas?
it's like oh shoot, you guys didn't have Brightspace, did you? What did you guys? It's like it's the portal for your classes, so they upload everything on there, and they upload. You can see your grades and stuff like that.
We
Uh,
use Brightspace too.
it's like Synergy.
Yeah, so yeah, right, yeah. Usually it's Canvas or Brightspace are the two I've heard of, but
Hmm.
Yeah.
it's
So it's
Mm-hmm.
nice,
like,
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
it's like a platform.
yeah,
Got it.
exactly.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's pretty awesome. So like,
Wait,
we talked about the depressing stuff during quarantine. So it's like, what are you guys gonna do after quarantine? Like once like this COVID thing or the vaccine comes out, are you guys excited to go meet your friends or something?
Oh, definitely. I feel like I've been talking to my friends at least, and we're like academically and professionally, I feel like COVID has been really good to us. I'm not sure about academically. Classes are a lot harder, I feel like. But in general, like professionally and in terms of everything else, COVID's like doing us well. Like we're able to balance a lot more because we're not running around campus. But in terms of like personally and socially, like it really sucks. Like I moved to Atlanta like 5 days after graduation. And I don't really know anyone here except for a few family friends. So it's been like honestly really lonely because I don't really have a ton of people I can go out and like meet or hang out with like socially distanced. So like we were all talking about like this year we're really gonna like grind and like hustle and like make sure we get like internships and like our classes set, our GPA like set. And then just the next 2 years, like full business major lifestyle, you know? Like every single stereotype is going out all the time.
Yeah. Anybody else, Varun?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Like I'm part of two I'm part of like a social fraternity and a business professional fraternity on campus. And for coming back, there's a lot to like plan going into spring essentially. We have recruitment, we have seminars, everything just ready to go. I mean, we're crossing our fingers that we're going to go back into in-person learning so we can really start getting this stuff. We have speakers already ready to come and speak for us, and we have events already set out. So I think it's just that waiting for that I'm really excited for. Just and also meeting everyone because
mhm.
it's like we haven't seen each other for like months and months right at this point.
Wait, I have a quick question. This might sound stupid, but what is a fraternity? Because I'm pretty
Oh.
sure the depiction I have of fraternities in movies is not what it is in real life.
It definitely isn't, and at least so here, so my social fraternity, like essentially, it's like a brotherhood, and yes, we just hang out, and it's mainly a. Let's for me, the best way I would describe it is being like like a support system for me. Like when I first came into LMU, it was I had friends and everything, but I really didn't have a place where I felt like I belonged. and joining that was really like a it opened the gates into like finding like a secure group, like almost like it was like robotics for me, but in college. I found like a family of sorts, and then obviously at the same time I also joined another uh, fraternity, which actually Jack Dawes is also a part of. It's called AK Psi. It's a business professional fraternity that's open to all majors and is also co-ed. So again, that's where it's more focused on academics and trying to build your business portfolio, interviewing skills, and obviously they help you with your CV, resume. So yeah, I mean, it can take up very different discourses, and like I think depending on the school too. Like in LMU, it's very relaxed. No one really cares if you're part of a fraternity or not over here.
All right, that's pretty cool. That's
Jeremy?
enlightening.
I can't say I know anything about fraternities. I know fraternities in Canada are like a lot. I don't want to say in the US they're restricted because I don't know that for sure, but I've heard that the fraternities in the US are pretty restrictive, like especially in terms of their events and stuff like that. In Canada, you just pay and then you that's how they make money. So
I guess I can give a different perspective as someone who's never going to be in like a Greek life fraternity, but our school like is definitely one of the ones where like Greek life is really like, a lot of social life revolves around it, and it's very restrictive. It's very there's been a lot of movements over quarantine, especially like on social media and just part of the school to like make it less like racist. I'm just going to use that word because that's truly what it is. Like they really do value like white blonde girls for sororities, or like very rich white like daddy's money boys for fraternities. But like I would say the culture is getting a lot better and a lot more inclusive, and like that you just have to know what you're getting into. I think there are some fraternities that are great. I have a lot of friends in frats, and they're like some of the sweetest guys I know, like definitely not the stereotype. And then like there are definitely frat boys out there who do fit that stereotype, but you know what you're getting into, and you're getting like a brotherhood and a sense of community. And then there's like obviously service frats, business frats, so many other things that are co-ed that like my friends are part of, like who are girls and stuff. So like it definitely is a great community, and if you want that type of robotics community again, I would suggest like Varun, like joining a business frat or something else is a
I
really good
guess we can move
idea.
on. So so like, how have you noticed robotics change? Because I heard that some of you guys were like watching the robotics like live streams. How did you notice it changed?
I
Or
can go.
was it exactly the same?
Um, I saw a lot of like interesting like developments really like in the positive side really. Like I know like your entire scouting like way of scouting is completely changed. You're using like tablets now and using
Yeah.
the actual program for it. And I thought that was really cool. I was like, "Oh wow, that's awesome." And I also know like the CAD side of things has really improved like full like a lot, and I just see it going the right direction really. I saw the robot this year. I was super excited. Like I was watching with another member from like a South Cal team and a 254 alum, and dude, and the 254 was alum was like saying, wow, this is actually very efficient. And I was like, especially the
Yes.
auton was beautiful, guys. I have to say the auton was beautiful.
Yeah, I think this was like one of the first years that we got to was it Alliance Captain? Isn't that right, Trey? We got the Alliance
Yeah.
Captain this time. It's been a while
First
since
year.
we were able to. Yeah, it's been a while since we got there because it's like we're able to, because of the training that you guys gave us, the alumni, we're able to create a better bot. I guess it's just like, yeah, iterations.
And a lot of things were better, not only the bot, but I was also
Yeah,
really proud of the chairman's video, Nikhil, that you edited.
no,
It looked really
I
good.
didn't.
Have
I
you
didn't
guys
edit
watched
it.
it? You didn't? Oh, was it
I didn't.
Koal?
It was Kowal who edited it.
But yeah, it's really
I
good
did
and I'm
the
proud of it.
audio.
But the only thing that we're missing is statistics.
I mean, I've really noticed just the fact that, like, especially after I came in, that you guys have really used the framework that a lot of us upper years were definitely trying to uh, give out to you guys. We can tell you, especially Ananya and I. No offense to you, Varun, you just don't know the history. Um, Ananya and I can tell you that, man, the biggest struggle we've had on our team is providing a solid groundwork for the members to like use. Because every
Oh,
single year,
110%.
yeah, every single year, seniors would just kind of go, okay, I made it to college, bye y'all, and we really tried hard to make it so that that wouldn't happen, and so to see you guys being so successful and like not having basically it seems like you guys haven't had to reinvent the wheel, right? Like you guys have been able to use what we've given you and really build up on that, which is super awesome.
Yeah, it's like
So
I don't know. It's like we weren't lost or anything. We had it. We really liked how the thing was run in our freshman year, and we just wanted to like keep that going. You know, it's like we doubled down on outreach. We've doubled down on like all these different aspects. Like the bot, instead of building out of wood, we're building out of metal with like wood accents and stuff. It's like we just wanted to be as efficient as possible, and that's what we've gotten from like the alumni, like helping us out, and that's what I hope we give to the new freshmen that are joining. Be like, all right,
Hmm.
it's a great way the thing is run. Hopefully, we could do something similar like that. So yeah,
Yeah. I know we've talked
it's
about this before, but it definitely feels weird to be upperclassmen now, right? It feels like
yeah,
we have this new role where we also have to help the freshmen out more.
yeah,
And I
and we
know
feel like we have
I
power.
definitely,
That's another thing.
yeah, power, but more in the sense like we have to be teachers we have to be somewhat of mentors and guidance. We have to give guidance to these people, to these freshmen. But it kind
Yeah,
of sucks not knowing what they look like and who they really are. All I see is their initials on the screen when I'm presenting the PowerPoint. I'll just call out them and say, "Hey, how are things going?" But I don't really know who they are. But I
yeah.
don't know.
That's
It's
why let's
definitely.
like we're trying to do more like social stuff, like icebreakers and things during our meetings, just so we're able to get to know people and to make sure that they don't feel scared when they're talking to us. I don't know if that's actually a thing, but
No,
I
Mhm.
don't
wait,
know if
I'm just
they're
They
actually scared.
probably do. They probably
Yeah.
do.
No, I'm just gonna jump in right there and say that's definitely a thing me and Jeremy did our freshman year too. Or not our freshman year, our senior year when you guys were like freshmen. It was definitely like I remember there were so many days where we just get boba tea after like school and Jeremy and I would talk about like how to like make the team work, how to like get it more social, like how to do everything. And so it was like, oh, the freshmen aren't talking. I hope they're not nervous. I hope they're not scared. And it was just so crazy because every year, like he said, we had to reinvent the wheel and like come up with new things because we never had guidance. So we were like, we want to make a system that stays and we hope like it works out because it's our first time doing this. It's not like we had a good system. And so it's really nice to hear that everything worked. Like our experience has probably been for 4 years, like, begging to be picked on an alliance team. Like, is it like, are we going to be picked? Are we not? And a lot of times we haven't been. And now it's like we're alliance captains. So it's such a different way to be on the playing field.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you're an upperclassman, it's less about the impact you'll have right now, but more about the impact you'll have in the future, right? Like we established
Oh,
a vision
definitely.
from early on. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it just feels different, like helping the freshmen because eventually they're going to be the people who lead the team. And then you want
Yeah.
sustainability within the team. That's another thing.
Oh, that's one of our core values, sustainability. I just
Not
think it's
anymore.
funny it
Not
came
anymore.
out.
Not
Not
anymore.
anymore.
It's not.
Guess
It's
we're
not.
reinventing the wheel even more.
Wait,
With
but you guys
core
never
values.
wrote
Do you want to
down
tell
the
us our
core
core
values,
values?
so we never knew them.
No, okay. We wrote down everything in our Google Docs. There was like over 10 years worth of information that apparently got
Uh-huh.
deleted. The entire drive's just gone.
Oh,
I mean,
dang.
we'd
Oh
probably be
yeah.
able to recover it, but I guess you guys. I mean, I never knew that. I knew sustainability was important, but it was just never ingrained in me. Like right now, in
Ah,
each of the PowerPoints that I present, I've got our core values ice gift, and I just list them out, and that's there. So hopefully they'll remember it by us repeating it.
No,
yes.
that's true. That's true. We didn't make a huge emphasis on being like, okay, these are the values you're gonna treasure for the rest of your life. But to be
I
honest,
mean,
it's interesting to see the kind of direction because I know that okay, so my freshman year, it's like everyone tries to leave a legacy, right? And so
mm-hmm,
while our upper years weren't able to leave the legacy of giving us necessarily the most solid framework, I can tell you that before I joined, the problems we had in our team were it was a lot of conflict, right? A lot of people were getting angry at each other because it was a really, really, really competitive atmosphere. There wasn't a lot of it was just seniors doing all the work and then the freshmen were just kind of sitting there. And so they transitioned it to our year to making it so that we did a lot of the work, the majority of the work, the younger people, whereas the leads did more managerial stuff. And then now we were able to
mm-hmm,
take what they gave us, give you guys an actual solid framework. And then now it seems like you guys are actually your legacy maybe you guys are actually documenting things and polishing and making it so that everything's written down and everything's clear and solid because yeah, so some of that we weren't some of that I'll be quite honest, we weren't able to do in our upper years just because we were
Mhm.
busy trying to build a framework. So it's all about like where do you want to put your efforts, which is really cool to
Mhm.
see.
How has robotics helped you guys like choose your career path,
Oh.
basically? Yeah.
Initially, I went into as a film major, but I didn't really like it, and I kind of took up what I was doing in robotics. I was in communications. I was doing a lot of like the admin work here and there. And I was like, okay, let me try communication studies essentially, like which is essentially focuses and in a focus in organizational communication, which is basically like corporate communication. So I put a lot of my focus into that. And then eventually I was speaking with my counselor and I was talking to her about like what I did in robotics and what I did, like what I'm doing right now, being part of like a fraternity and trying to go on e-board and whatnot. And then she was like, "Yeah, why don't you try business management a shot?" And I was like, as a minor, and he's like, "No, try a double major because my grades were pretty all right and I could manage the workload." So then I just added business management. And over the past few months, especially through quarantine, I did like an internship, like a small like workshop actually with Amazon. And I kind of figured out that I kind of want to get into HR, human resources, when I graduate high school. So I still I still connect that to my robotics days. And what I did in robotics kind of shaped my thinking into what I want to do after I graduate college.
All right.
Mhm. It's
Jeremy or
interesting.
Ananya, do you guys have anything?
I'm
I guess,
going on
yeah,
you.
I
All
can
you.
go now. Yeah, because it's kind of similar to Varun. I'm also studying business. For me, I entered my freshman year being very stereotypically Indian. I'm just not gonna lie to you. I thought I was gonna go into computer science. Like my dad was like a software engineer. I thought I was gonna grow up to be one. I like joined robotics because I thought it would give me a lot of help with like engineering and stuff. And all I did was like business work for like my 4 years. And then I think around my junior year, I had like an epiphany and I realized like this is what I want to do. Like I haven't done any coding. Like I'm really bad at like math and stuff. Like why am I doing computer science? And so in college, I'm studying finance. I want to go into consulting most probably. Um, and so like seeing this like robotics has really helped because like when I was deciding between like investment banking and consulting, I realized like consulting you do all these different projects and that's what a lot of robotics outreach was like working on a project from start to finish, executing it, moving on to the next one. And like being able to do that at a higher level for different companies, I was like, that's so much fun. Like I've been doing this for years already. Why not make that my career? And you like get to travel out of it and get good money out of it too. And so robotics definitely has shaped my life very significantly to the point where like it's changed my not only my major but like it's decided what career I want to do.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I can speak to that as well. It's basically I joined robotics initially because I did it in middle school and that was a lot of fun. But then it got to the point where I came into high school and I was like, okay, I'll try the same thing. And then they were doing what I was doing in FLL in middle school, except like 5 times the size. And that was really awesome, right? And then just through my roles, even though I didn't have engineering very specific roles, I found that I really enjoyed watching these groups of people being able to, and helping even a little bit on my own, contributing ideas for making this robot and then seeing like how it comes out in the end, just that kind of process, that decision making process of using logic and a toolbox of like technical resources and different types of mechanisms and all that stuff. And so with all that, taking all that into account, I was like, sure, I'll go into engineering, and then with the business minor on the side, so that it's like, doing a little bit more of what I did in communications and robotics. And like all that's actually proving super useful because I have a leg up on a lot of my classmates, especially in some of my classes where it's like, okay, we're talking about different mechanisms. Like here are the different types of wheels, here are the different types of right. And I'm like, I already know all this. This is super cool, Like I had to make a report about this in robotics. Like, I could go on hours about this kind of stuff. So it's not only helped me choosing like in terms of like what direction I want to go with my career, but it's also just helped practically with like classes and stuff like that. So it's super cool.
Yeah. Also, Jeremy,
Wait,
this is
this
a
is
question
oh.
specifically for you. All right. So, has robotics helped in your endeavors of drilling avocados? Is it?
Yeah, so I can explain that one. So
Yeah.
if anyone knows my Instagram, jerbear_lim, I'm gonna throw it out there. But basically, if there's something that's also really cool about engineering besides the fact that the types of stuff you do in engineering. It's the fact that it's a brotherhood. It's honestly, our engineering faculty is more of a fraternity than our actual fraternities. Like, we have these orientation meetings or orientation stuff that's like, we have these spirit heads. So you guys in robotics have like spirit leads, and like, there's hype at competition teams doing chants. Do you think that's just in
Oh,
high school? Nah, we do that in college too. You kidding me? So we have chants and we have like these spirit heads who, like, to get initiated, you have to drink like a hard hat full of beer. It's like pretty intense stuff. It's like, I could go on. Some of it's not the most appropriate for a high school podcast, but let's just be real, right? It's a family, right? And so that aspect of it, going into the drilling the avocado, I did that for the orientation thing. So it was just like one of those introduction, get to know you kind of
you were.
things for the freshmen, right? Yeah, and it's like
They were
the
just
point is
walking
to try to
around and
be
they
yeah,
just
the point
couldn't
is to
see
try to
you.
be weird, try to be quirky.
Okay.
See,
So yeah.
Interesting. You know,
that's pretty.
Nikhil, we should take notes. Maybe we can do this for orientation too.
Maybe we can drill an avocado for orientation.
Yeah.
Just like on
Ooh.
camera, be like avocado. Yes. And
You
You
they'll
should
ask
you
said
should
why,
safety
and
test.
then we'd be like, "It works. We got your
you should
attention."
implement it into your safety video somehow. Just the
Yeah.
drilling of an
Yeah.
That's
avocado.
what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Don't let your safety captain see you doing that.
You can have it like
Yeah,
what not to do. Drill an avocado.
actually, I have a question. So I know you're graduating year from high school. A lot of you guys, like, you all do something that's associated with business, right? But the year after you, they're all computer science. There's like no business. Do you guys? I don't know. Why do you guys
Is
think
it,
that happened? Or I don't know.
is it and
It's
then is it our
interesting.
year to do all business again? Is that how it works? It's like
Maybe, or maybe it's something else. Maybe we just do nothing robotics related. We'll see.
yeah.
But it's really
Um,
interesting. Do you
I
guys know
think
about
I
other
can
people?
speak to that
Uh-huh.
a bit. Yeah, I think the reason no one the year below us is doing business is because like our business team went through so many like life cycles and changes that we as we talked about before that like it was basically who stuck through the end. And I think it was honestly like me and Jeremy at one point who were like the two remaining like business kids for 4 years versus like everyone else quit because it was just such a like it was really messy at different points, like different years. It was just like, why am I doing this, like what's the point? And so like unless you knew you were in it for the long run and you wanted to see it get better, like there was no motivation. And I think like because we stuck for 4 years, it really impacted our lives and we want to do business. Like Jeremy's doing the minor, I'm doing the major. But if you weren't in that for 4 years and you didn't get the experience, like you wouldn't enjoy it or see the long lasting effects. And so I don't think it would influence your future, like, your major choices, like your education or your career at all.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just interesting. It's like the way we can predict what freshmen are going to do. I don't know. But it definitely does have an impact, as you're saying.
Yeah. So on that note, do you guys have any advice for our current robotics members? Like, show up to meetings.
I,
Don't
I I
drill
got something.
avocados.
I got
Definitely
something.
show up at meetings.
Yeah.
Um, in like so, I think the biggest thing that I was trying to implement was yes, and this is also going into as advice for everyone in the team right now, is yes, competition is important, and you have to stay competitive in the end because it is a competitive sport. You're competing against teams, and the only real way to improve is to push yourself to become a lot better. That is important, and that's something everyone should focus on. But in the end, it's also insanely important that everyone remembers that what sets, in my opinion, Saints Robotics apart is, sorry about that, my phone rang. But what sets Saints Robotics apart is that the community that it creates and the community that it builds, and how everyone is more than just like in like this competitive sport for the sake of college. Everyone's in this because they really love it, and then it's a big support group for them. And I think they should not forget about that side of robotics, and always try to foster it in some way or the other.
Hmm.
Jim, Anya.
I mean, it seemed to go Varun and Anya me, so I'm chill if that were Anya. You can go. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I guess my advice would be like don't feel like when you go in, there's a lot of pressure, not pressure, but like it feels like unsaid that you have to choose a sub team and stick with it. And when you don't really know what you like to do as a freshman, you might want to choose a sub team based on what not you're like what you don't like, but what you think you'll like. And so my freshman year, like I chose BD, like it was a last minute decision. Like I was like going into like programming, and then very last minute, I was just like, by the way, can I just like do PR for a day? And they were like, okay, yeah, just try out PR today, and then we can put you in programming the next meeting. And then instead, I ended up like doing business for literally the rest of my life. So I think just because you think you'll be into something, don't force yourself to do that, and be willing to try out new things because it might just be what you're truly passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, ditto to what everyone else has been saying, but it's basically for me a big one is like take pride in the work you're doing in robotics. It's going to be super applicable in your future, and it's going to change you. To be honest, it's seemed to change everyone else here, including myself. And like you learn a lot of skills, but like a big part in taking pride in the work that you're doing and that kind of stuff is also take risks, right? So take pride and also take risks because you're at the time in your life where you can make these risks safely. Kind of like there are consequences, but it's not super bad, like as bad as it could be in industry. And so in order to like grow as a person and to grow like and it also helps grow the team, is you got to take those risks and be proud of what you're doing. Like even if you made a mistake, be proud of the fact that you went and tried to make that mistake, at least, because it will affect you in later in life, and it does help you grow as a person. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, sure, you have anything to say?
Advice? I'm not giving advice. That's later.
Yeah.
Later. But
It's,
yeah,
it's the
that's
president. We
really
want the
helpful.
president's advice.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I can really attest to all of them. It just makes sense. But yeah, there's no
If I
need
would
to
give
stick to one
advice, it's
sub
that
team.
you should buy our merch.
There's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You need to update it, but yeah. Yeah, I
Do
guess
you guys got any new merch, new designs?
not
No,
yet.
it's just
But
Simon's design so far.
we'll definitely
Okay.
work on some more.
Simon's and Brand's, I think.
I already
Meg,
have
keep
half of
note of
them.
that.
Nice.
I'll,
Meg,
I'll
keep
let
note
you
of
all
that.
know, if you want to be a cool kid, we got even Woody Flowers to sign someone's Woody Flower pants, I think it was.
Yeah,
That was
leggings.
iconic.
Leggings.
Yeah, like
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
good.
he's actually he also
and
signed
like
my sweatshirt.
rest in peace, my man Woody Flowers. But like, it was awesome being able to do that during his what was, I think it was his last year, his last competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just building off of that, I like
Unfortunately,
it
yeah.
was so crazy meeting him because he started this entire program. And then like I never thought I would like meet the person who literally started robotics and like changed my life. And then less than a year after I meet him, like he's kind of like gone, and it's just really sad, but it's also like crazy that it gave me the opportunity to like at least say hi to this person who's influenced my life so much. So you just never know where robotics like leads you.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I
So
don't know.
yeah.
I guess just have fun. That's the big thing. And
Yeah, having fun
there's
in
no reason
robotics
not
is
to do
pretty easy
something,
though.
right? Always try new
Mm.
things. I guess that's the main thing with robotics. There are so many experiences that you can sign up and help out with. Even if you don't know if it's what you want to do, just helping out and saying, hey, I do like this, or realizing that, hey, this isn't for me. It's just those fun experiences.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna
And
jump in again and like say like in terms of having fun, make sure you're having fun at competitions too. Like you meet so many like new people and so many cool people, and some of those friendships last like way longer outside of just like a robotics competition season. So just make sure you're always like meeting new people, talking to teams, because you never know where it's gonna lead you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I completely agree with Ananya on that. I've made some amazing friends from like other teams, especially from Royal Robotics and the Skunk Works. I still talk to them every now and then, and I personally feel like that just adds on to the entire experience of robotics. Sure, one thing is creating the robot, brainstorming, and working together as a team, but the other thing is also meeting other people and seeing how their teams work and trying to learn from them as they try to learn from you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
on that note, I would like to close the podcast. So that I think that's a good part to end it on. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
thank you guys so much for joining us today, both the alumni and the people watching for this long. So always remember to buy our merch first of all and eat your ramen. So yeah, see
And
you guys
follow
next
us.
time. All right, and
Follow us
follow us
where?
on all of our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so
And what's our email? I don't think we had this in the last podcast.
okay, yes. And if you guys want to be part of the podcast or want us to react to something or talk about something, please email us at what is it? Robotics
Robotics
Assemble
Assemble
podcast
podcast.
at saintsrobotics.com.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
forgot that portion. But yeah,
All right. So
awesome.
thank you guys
Thank
so
you guys.
much and
Wait, let's do
see you
robotics
next time.
together. Or attempt to do it together.
Sure, yeah, let's
3,
try doing it. Okay.
Let's do it.
3, 2,
2,
1. Robotics
Next
break.
Robotics break.